Hello and welcome to In the Studio with Tranceportal with myself, Shane Kinsley, better known as Project A. Today I'm going to be showing you a few quick tips and tricks on productivity and workflow within the Ableton DAW environment. A lot of producers would have varied time frames when making music, so I'm going to show you how to maximise your time in the studio. So let's get started and we'll head over to Ableton Live. So we're in Ableton Live 11 at the moment, and as you can see here straight away, my theme of my Ableton Live 11 is already customized. It's this kind of like orange theme. You can check it out. It's called livethemes.co, and you can actually customize your own Ableton Live skins. And I highly recommend it. It's brilliant, you know. You can have a lot of fun with it, and there's great themes that you can, pre-made themes that you can download. So I'd highly recommend you check that out. But cracking on, you can see here I already have a template set up, so anytime I open up my Ableton Live, my template is there, so it's a lot easier for me to get ideas down quickly. I already have my kicks set up and my buses for parallel compression, reverb, everything like that. So it's very easy for yourself to do that. Obviously you can create your own channels whichever way you want, and then obviously you go up here to file and then you click on save live set as template. I'd highly recommend you create some channel strips as well. The channel strip that I would have here, I would show you now. So open this up. So my channel strip would start off in the signal chamber with Oxygen Span Plus. So when I'm creating sounds, it's a high analyzer, so you can see what sounds essentially that I'm making. Also, there is the Pro Q3, which is my go-to plugin. Absolutely love this EQ. I use it on every single track, and then I have a high pass and a low pass filter set up, and then last in the signal chain we mixed in key, because I can see what every sample that I use, what key essentially that it's in. And then what I would do is, if I throw all these VSTs all in one, I would select shift and then right click and click on group track, and then save that as a channel strip, and then that would save obviously up into your projects here, and then you can throw that on any sort of projects that you have. But another handy feature that you can do in Ableton Live that a lot of producers overlook as well, if you throw all these in and you save that as a group, what you can do then is on the channel, if you click on it, you can right click on it and you click on save as default audio track. So then anytime you open up an audio track, your channel strip will be on that as well, and it's the exact same with a MIDI track. So it's a little handy tip to be able to, you know, speed up your workflow as well, which I would highly recommend. Another handy feature in Ableton Live that I generally use a lot is, I work a lot in audio, and for instance, say you have a full track laid out and you have loads of effects and hi-hats and everything like that, and you forget to consolidate a lot of them into, you know, to organize your project. What I would do when I say I wanted to change a certain sample or like a certain riser throughout the whole track, instead of going all the way up to like up to where all my samples are and dragging and dropping it and deleting it, you know, it would take me a little bit of time. I'd want to do this all in one go very quickly. I have an example here of a hi-hat and a kick that I'd be able to change in real time, and I could do this throughout the track. Now picture this as a full track or something like that, and you would have the hi-hat completely laid out. So I'll just show you examples. I'll show you what I mean. See that hi-hat, what I essentially do is I'd highlight this, and when I click into the hi-hat, I'd right click and select the function manage sample in file, and what this does is shows you every sample that you actually use in your project. And with this one in particular, once I click on the hot swap selection, if I play this, it changes all the samples all in one go. And for instance, I like that one, and then I just select out, and I just select on a blank part, and that actually saves it. You can click save here, but I think it actually saves it like a folder. And this would be the same with the kick as well. If I want to take out the kick, I'd highlight that, click into the audio sample itself, manage sample file, obviously it's up here, there's the kick. And that feature is very useful. It's very good for, especially I would use it a lot, especially when it's in effects, or you know, when you're halfway through your track and you're like, I don't actually like that hi-hat now, I actually want to change that. Instead of going up and just searching for a certain one, you can use the hot swap function there, which saves you again a lot of time. So another handy tip that I would use is, for obviously to organize your samples. It's very self-explanatory, you know, speeds up a lot of workflow. There's nothing worse when you're sitting there in a project and you're actually trying to find the perfect sample, and you're flicking through them and you're there nearly about 10 to 15 minutes trying to find the right sample, and you know your head is absolutely melted. So what I would recommend, a little trick to do, is get like certain packs that you obviously love, like if you the David Parkinson's or even my own, or you know, any progressive kind of stuff, or stuff on loop masters. What I would do is I would go up here and I would select where is it? Jesus, lost. Grab a drum rack and throw this down to onto your Ableton Live. You don't even need to create a MIDI track, and it creates a drum track for you. And then I get a sampler and throw it onto one of the hits here. And then I would go to, say, one of the packs that I use, or Project A Tech Trance drums, and I'm going to click on kick hits, and I have 30 here. I'm going to select them all, select shift and drag them down to the sampler. I'm going to put them in here and select zone, and then you're going to go to selection here, and then you're going to right click and click on distribute range equally. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to map that to one of the pads there. So we will click on map that to a macro, and then I'll just select that down. And what I'll do now is I'm just going to create an empty MIDI slot, and you can press Command Shift M or Control Shift M if you're on a PC, very quickly to throw that up. And then I'm going to switch this to obviously a 1x4, and if you press B, obviously that's your pen, and press B again to turn that off. Boom. And now if I play this, I'll actually turn off the hi-hat. So there's my kicks. And now what I can do is I can flick through these kicks so I can find the perfect one very quickly. And this is a very handy feature, you know what I mean? You can use that on anything. You can put in on the other macros, you can put in hi-hats, you can put in synth stabs and all that, and you can flick through loads and get a really nice sample pack that you love with loads of different samples, and then throw them into them macros. And again, save that then as a channel strip so you can throw that in easy to get down your ideas very quickly. So it's another little tip that I would generally recommend. There's an app that you can actually integrate with Ableton Live. It's actually been around a while. There's a lot of people that actually don't know about, and I thought it'd be handy to kind of mention it in this, because this is an absolute workflow beast. It really has sped up my workflow, and I absolutely love this software that integrates with Ableton Live. If you notice at the top of my Ableton here, there's a little symbol here, and if I click on website, it's going to load up here for you now, and I'll throw it up in the screen here. It's called Live Enhancement Suite. There's a good few tutorials online about on the certain features. It's packed full of great stuff. The stuff that I absolutely love is it creates like shortcuts that Ableton Live doesn't like to essentially have. Now you could go into your Ableton here, and obviously you can create key cuts and MIDI map stuff, but this creates a lot of interesting shortcuts for you that you can actually use. And I'd recommend going through this because there's a lot of stuff that you would essentially like. I'll show you some of the greatest, the brilliant features on this. So a really good one that I absolutely love is, say I have a MIDI file here, and obviously right click MIDI. What I can do is, if I click on my MIDI and double right click, it brings up all these instruments, and this is a folder, sorry, that I created myself, you know what I mean, for all my favorite plugins that I use, all the imagers that I would use on a regular basis. Now I could go up here, I can click on Command and F and go and search for it, but this software does it for you in real time, you know. And all you need to do is, if you click on the symbol up here and click on configure menu, it brings up like a little notepad, and I think on the PC it'd be very similar, and it tells you how to actually, you know, program these within the folder here. I would highly recommend that you obviously follow the instructions carefully, but it's very, very self-explanatory, and I just threw in a lot of like the compressor and all that, and you can create little subgroups as well of some of your favorite plugins. So again, if I double right click, if I click on my MIDI here, double right click, doesn't seem to be working now. And yeah, there's my instruments. There's like the Zebra and Silent, the Black Box, different effects and all. These are all folders that I've put in myself. Like for pads, Omnisphere, I put it in there. Now I'm going to put in a few other synths, but that'd be like my go-to synth or something essentially for pads, or some of the stuff on Contact as well. So definitely check that out. Another handy feature that it does as well is Ableton Live doesn't really have an auto save like I think like Cubase, but obviously if your Ableton crashes, obviously it will kick back off from where it was. But what I would do is what you can do, what this software does, if you press Command Alt Command Alt and S, you'll notice it saves it instantaneously, and it creates a second version of it. So see how quick that came up there. So if I press it again, Command Alt and Shift, and it'd be Control Alt and Shift on a PC. And if I go up here and go to open set on file, open live set, and see it there, it created Untitled 2 and then Untitled 3. It created it instantaneously, so I definitely check that out. Also with the live enhancement suite, it's great for MIDI. So what I would do here, say if I want to create a blank MIDI file, so I'll go obviously Command Shift M, create the MIDI file here, and on your PC or Mac you press the tilde key and it will create the note for you instantaneously. Where before, obviously it's not that slow, but I would double click here and then obviously create the note, or I'd press the B tool for the pen and manually put them in. But obviously with this new feature, you literally hold the tilde key and watch, it just does it straight away for you. There, boom, and it's really quick like so. Obviously another one, tilde key, boom, tilde key, and it's brilliant. Also what you can do as well, obviously the new Ableton Live 11 obviously has the scale and the scale feature now, where Ableton 10 didn't. But this software, obviously if you go up to here and you hold Shift and double right click, you can create scales or chords. So say for instance I can click this now and click on chord and click on major, and then say I want to do a D major chord, I hold the tilde key down as well and do that, and it creates a D major chord for me in a split second, which is unbelievable, you know. So that again speeds up your workflow as well when you're creating melodies. So that's a little small overview of the Live Enhancement Suite. I'd definitely recommend it, as it speeds up a lot of your workflow, and again it's 100% free as well, so it's brilliant. Like, it's a lot better I think on the PC. I think there's a few little glitches on the Mac version, they're still trying to work it out. But other than that, it's a really nice program, and you can even donate to the developers. But again, you don't have to. It's 100% free, so definitely check that out. So there's one last thing I wanted to mention as well. I came across it the other day when I was working with a client, and it's a very handy feature to know as well in case say your project crashes and you can't actually get it back open. I would highly recommend, obviously you would save your projects in part 1, part 2, part 3, so you can go back to a later version if you can't reopen the old one. Ableton, if it crashes, obviously opens back up from where it usually is, but in some cases you might not have that, you know, you might not have that luxury essentially. So what I would do here is, one of the projects that I was working with someone was, see it here, if I click on his actual project file, if I open up the drop down menu, and these are all the channel strips that he was using. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm just going to delete all these channels, and I'm just going to start doing it one by one. So I throw in a side chain here, and then I throw in this percussion as well and clap. And what I noticed was obviously it was his kick and a subgroup. He was obviously using a synth, and I asked him, does he remember what synth he was using? And he obviously said it was X, Y, and Z. And we knew that was obviously the synth that was causing the issue of causing the track to crash. What you can do here is you can throw in all the other channels essentially and build up the whole track, and then maybe recreate the kick and the subgroup again, so that can save you a lot of time as well. You know, because if I know how it is, if you lost your full project, you could be absolutely devastated. So another little handy trick as well, if your project doesn't open, you can throw in all the actual channels itself. So it's very handy. So that's all we have time for today, folks. I'd like to thank Tranceportal for having me on. If you like what you see today, make sure you like and subscribe to their videos. There's some absolute amazing content in the previous videos as well, so make sure you check them out. And I hope you learned something new today. I hope your workflow kind of speeds up as well, and definitely check out some of them features that I told you within this series today. And again, I hope you stay safe and have a good day. All the best.